Hi, it's Heather Horsley Johnson, and welcome to Search Engine Optimization for Techniques for the Open to Hope authors. And all you authors out there, we sure do appreciate you and all the work you do for Open to Hope. And Mark and Chris are going to have some great information for you today. And if you have questions, you can write your questions there, or you can save them till after, and you can email me anytime. But we sure do appreciate all the work you do for Open to Hope. So thanks for being here. Chris, take it away.
Good morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Chris Templeton, and I'm with Influence Internet. We're the company that's been working with Open to Hope for about the last year and a half. So let's start with search engine optimization and what it is. And I apologize for those of you that are really good at this. We're really going for assuming that most of the authors have not spent a tremendous amount of time understanding search engine, and so we're going to run through it that way. Search engine optimization is basically designed to really improve where your articles, where your website, where your blog comes up when somebody searches on a term that's relevant to your topic areas. And so what we're really trying to do is to create a situation where the people that need your articles and your website, you're easier to find. Obviously, our primary focus at Influence with Open to Hope is to have Open to Hope be the main grief and loss site on the internet, and we're moving that way, but again, it can't be done without you. The second thing that we want to just cover is that if you do this and we work together on this, it really benefits all of us. And we'll demonstrate a little bit why that is. But if you're doing the things that help Open to Hope's work was also going to benefit you right back. And finally, by being associated with Open to Hope, you're really getting the advantage of the work that we're doing because of all the articles that have your author byline, and people and your bios are linked back to your web assets. So please know that you are really there is great advantage to you. The other thing that we want to just briefly mention is that at this point, Open to Hope has a Google grant for $10,000 a month, and we are spending every penny of that as quickly as we can on a monthly basis to increase our search results in pay-per-click advertising. All of that helps you, and our goal is to max out that. We think we have some room to grow in that area, and as we do, it'll only help everybody else. So let's talk about what search results are. First of all, let's just assume that we're doing a search of loss of a child, and what you see that comes up in the two boxes on the top and the right are what we call pay-per-click advertising. So the third one down in the middle that I've got my mouse on, this is an ad from Open to Hope based on that grant. And what we're doing is we're going after a variety of topics, primarily the big five: death of a spouse, death of a child, pregnancy loss, death of a sibling, and I think we're a couple others. So what we're doing is optimizing our search across a wide variety of search terms. So again, this is the pay-per-click search, and then what this area that's highlighted now is called as organic search, and this is really where we are focused on helping Open to Hope and the authors is to come up at least on the first page and work to move you up into the top 3 or 4 slots of an organic search, so that when somebody types on loss of a child, we're moving Open to Hope and the authors up that line. Our goal, again, is just to be at this area as quickly as we can. So let's talk a little bit about how SEO benefits the authors. As you know, Open to Hope is housing approximately over 3,000 articles now. We have 300 authors. We have about 100 videos and I think a few hundred radio shows. And all of that content is being categorized and searched for by the search engines. And as the authors put in more and more content, what happens is when anybody searches on any of these search engines and others, they're more likely to show either Open to Hope or the authors. But what we really want to do is talk about one of the major strategies is putting more links between your websites, your blogs, your social media, and Open to Hope. And Open to Hope has some things to link back to you, so that what happens is when people search on Google for loss of a child, that what happens is those search results become much stronger and move you up into more relevant positions. As you all know, it's not a very common occurrence for you to do search and look past the first page of results, and that is the same pretty much for any topic area. So let's talk about keywords. Mark, why don't you start with defining them?
Thanks, Chris. When we talk about keywords, we talk about words that people type into the Google search box to find what they're looking for on the search engines. And we know that people type in one or two words sometimes, and that's a very broad, it's an informational search. They're just looking for general information. Words like grief or hope. But mainly, most searches online are for longer searches than just one or two phrases. They're much more specific, more along the lines of dealing with hope, books on grieving after the loss of a child, or divorce, living life after a divorce. The keywords are much longer, and one of the things that we're going to discuss is that phenomenon that when you have an exact match of what we call a long tail key search, a keyword search that's 3-4 words long in your article is very likely to show up number 1, 2, or 3 in the search on Google when you have an exact match in your article. One thing I want to point out right now, when we talk about links, I want to make it clear that what a link is. And a link would be something that's on your blog or on a website that you can actually click through, and it will take you to your article on Open to Hope or take you to Open to Hope. It's an actual clickable link, not just a URL on the web page, but a clickable link on a web page that takes you to another web page. That's what we mean by links.
So the other thing that's important to point out here is that our goal is to help you to understand how you can strengthen your article's ability to be found. However, what we're not here to do is to tell you how to change we're not here to tell you to change your style of writing, that sort of thing. But we want you to be aware of some of the things that you can do to help yourself be found, and they're really pretty straightforward. So let's talk about keyword examples. Mark, why don't you take this one?
Okay, thanks, Chris. And again, I want to reiterate that you're writing, and when you write for the point you're trying to get across, and for the end reader. We don't write for SEO. What we want to help you is understand how Google categorizes our articles. And so when anyone searches something on Google, every website that has that matches those keywords gets put into a spreadsheet, and then Google applies an algorithm over that spreadsheet to order it. But in order to get into that initial spreadsheet, you have to have the keywords on your page or in your website somewhere to get into that list. So again, when we talk keywords, we talk about what people are searching for on the search engines to find what they're looking for, and Google gives us a lot of data on these keywords and how many people are searching using these keywords a month. And we've added a lot of that information to the author resource page. So here, what we see here is some of the single keyword keywords. And again, that's where people are very informational. They're looking for broad scope information. And if we want to rank for these, and we're doing everything we can to bring Open to Hope up in the rankings for these single word keywords. But again, most searches online are 2 words and longer, even what we call long tail keywords. They'll be much more specific, like grief over the loss of a child, or can't stop grieving for my son, help. And what we see is when there's an exact match where you use that phrase in your article is going to rank 1, 2, or 3 in the search engines when you have an exact match on the long tail keywords. And there's some things that we can do, and what we're going to go over, that can increase the chances of you having those words in your articles, so that you have an exact match and your article is ranking for what people are searching for.
I think what's important to point out is that, as Mark says, the longer that your phrases are that are specific to what people are most likely to be searching, the more likely your article is to be found. So just taking a couple of examples, like the first 2 in long tail keywords, having both of those phrases has the ability for you to be seen on and come up to the very top if somebody types either of those phrases. So one of the things that we'll talk about is a little bit of redundancy in these phrases, but how to use them properly. So the question then becomes, how in the world do I figure out what those should be? And so on the website, for the new authors website, one of the things that we've done is we've done some initial research on keyword listings. So you'll notice that on the left, you've got by alphabet some of the keywords for related to death of a child, and this shows just alphabetically what we've found that are pretty strong keywords searches. And then also what we've done is we've then sorted them in reverse order, so that what happens is you can see what some of the most common searches are, so that you can see what types of phrases you can use within your article. Again, we're not trying to change your style. We're just suggesting to you that you give some thought to, and we're working to make it as easy for you to find this information as possible, to looking at what some of the longer phrases are that you can incorporate into your articles on your topic area. So let's talk about what search engines look for. Mark?
After studying what Google looks at, what they're looking at on our websites to determine what the website's about, we know that a very strong signal on our webpage in our article is the title of the article. And then after the title, the subheadings and the bolded text on your article, Google looks, if you're stressing that to your readers, Google thinks that that's something they can look at to try to determine what your article is about. So the things that are bolded in the subheadings in your article, the actual content, all the words in your article are being categorized by Google. And then Google wants to see an image and an image description. There's an alt text that tells Google what that image is about. But they want to see a relevant image on your page that is relevant to your topic.
From the standpoint of off-site factors, there's a number of things that that the search engines are looking for. And basically, again, it's this idea of creating links to and from relevant content. And so if you have links from your author page, right now every author page on Open to Hope has a link back to your sites. In featured books, we have links back to your books if you're the author of a book. And what we want from you is any of your pages that you have on the internet to be pointing to articles on Open to Hope, as well as other places that you have articles or books or appearances. All of it works. What we're trying to really do is weave a very, very strong web of links back and forth, so that what happens is the search engines look at that and they say, boy, these are links from credible people that are relevant to the topic area, and obviously there are so many topic areas just within the content area for Open to Hope. The other thing that we really think is important for you to consider is to put comments on your social media that include links to anything that you're doing. Again, not just Open to Hope, but to any events, to any pieces of information that you found valuable. If you're using social media outlets, we really encourage you to put links to content that you feel is relevant to your topic area. So let's talk about search engine results. What we want to do is show you, and this will be a little bit redundant because we want to make sure that it really is making sense. We want to have you look at formatting your content so that it's easy to find, that the search engines are able to clearly associate what you're writing with specific keyword phrases that we've discussed earlier. And then what we finally want is for the search engine to create a really strong connection between your topics and that you focus on, and as a result, your articles. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing that we talk about is how to optimize your articles for search. And so here are the things that we recommend, and then we're going to walk through an example. So as we've talked about with keywords, one of the best things you can do is use a keyword phrase that's well used within the title. It doesn't have to be the whole title, but if you've got, death of a child, I can't stop thinking about the death of my child, that's a strong keyword phrase, and added to the title, it makes it much more relevant in terms of search engines. And again, I just want to continue to reiterate that although we're talking about this from a search engine perspective, what it really, really means is that your articles are much easier to find by the people who are looking for them. And what we want to do is give you the best possible readership that we can. So keywords phrases in the title. As Mark mentioned, we want to add an image to every article. We want you to look at breaking up content into segments, and we'll show you an example of this. We want to use subheadings within the article, and this is very important for not only your readers, but also for the search engines to make more sense out of what's in your article. It looks at those subheads, bolded subheadings, and says, oh, those are important. I need to look at giving those some extra weight in doing search engine rankings. Then what we want to do is use similar terms. As I showed you earlier, if you can just change the wording a little bit, that it may work, one term may work closely with another, but it helps that, when somebody searches for one version of that term, they're more likely to find it. And we'll show you an example of that as well. So we want to thank David Roberts for letting us play with one of his articles. This is an article before SEO formatting, and there's nothing wrong with it by any stretch of the imagination. However, this is some of the things that we would recommend that David do. So this is the article after formatting, and let's just walk through some of the things that we've done. The first thing is we've used a keyword in the title, so we've changed it from the wisdom in journaling to journaling to heal the loss of a child. We've added a photo, and behind that, what we've done is we've given the photo a title, and we've also given it alternative text. And we'll show you how this is done in the back end if you are entering articles on your own. If you're not, that's not a big deal. We'll encourage you and be putting together a piece where we encourage you to provide us an image, and provide Neil and Heather an image, and give them a title for the image as well as what we call alternative text. Alternative text was originally used to help blind people understand what the image was, but it turns out that search engines also use that, and so we want to make sure that you've got a relevant picture and that that there's relevant alternative text. That's really important. The next thing that we do is we segment the article, and you can see that we put a couple of subheadings within it and then bolded and centered them. And this is very important for search engines because, as I said earlier, it gives your article more relevancy in that it's looking for, it's giving those subheads more weight. The next thing is that we want to use similar terms instead of repeating keywords, which I mentioned. So you may have loss of a child and death of a child. Those are very similar in terms of how they rank in search engines. And so if you can mix it up just a little bit like that, it really has the chance of connecting you with a reader, makes the likelihood go up. Mark, let's talk a little bit about why this is important to the reader as well.
And this is great because not only are making these changes, these edits, good for the search engines to know what the article's about, but this is really great for the reader or the visitors. We've done a lot of studies online about the online visitor, the online reader. And we've learned online readers or people getting content online are much quicker. They're fast. They're very apt to hit the back button if they don't get an instant feeling for liking a page. So one of these things, breaking up the content, makes the page less intimidating to an online reader. They're more likely to not be intimidated by an essay of words. And that's where adding the picture reaches out to the visitor's emotional sense. The colors go right into the brain, and it appeals to their emotional sense, and especially when it's relevant, they get a better feeling when they land on your article. And then with the subheaders, they can scan down your article and get a feel for what the article is about, and if that's what they're looking for online. And many times when they see that that's what they're looking for, they're much more likely to stay and read the article.
So again, making it easier for your readers also makes it easier for the search engines to take a look at that article with more basically knock up the credibility. Okay, so let's move on and show you how you enter an article very briefly and how you can do this formatting. Again, if you're entering articles, this is for you. If you're entering articles on the back end, if you're not, stay with us and we'll make it relevant for you in a minute. So the first thing you notice is that in this example, we've highlighted and broken up the article, put in a subheader, and then what we've done is we have gone ahead and put in a bold. We've bolded it just like a word processor, and then we've also centered it. So those are the things, again, that really help the search engines, and it's a relatively straightforward thing to do. The second thing that we want to talk about is adding an image to articles, and if you're using the Open to Hope admin, this is basically how you would do it. So you can see that in this example, the picture's already in, but we wanted to show you what we did to get the picture in. The first thing is we clicked on the Upload Insert button, and that brings up this box where you select files. If you can see your file on your desktop or in a file explorer, you can actually also drag the file onto that square. The next thing that comes up after it uploads the image is this box, and you'll notice that the alternative text and the title are in this area. And again, the alternative text is really important in that that's what a search engine looks for. And if you can get a keyword into that alternative text and still make it relevant, instead of just saying loss of a child, you'd say a man by a lake after the loss of a child. Those are the types of things that are really helpful for the search engines. And let's then talk about finding images. A couple of things. Unfortunately, this is the part of the talk we don't like to give, but it's just a reality. We want you to please stay away from just grabbing images from the internet, and whether it's for Open to Hope articles or your own articles. If you put images from the internet in, you're very likely to increase your chances of infringing copyright. And so what we encourage you to do is either use your own pictures or to look for stock imagery. And actually one of the things we typically don't like stock imagery as a rule. However, in doing the updates to the website, there is good stock imagery, and it's relatively inexpensive, usually less, I think, than $10 to put a stock image in there, but they tend to look reasonable and don't feel like stock. So there's a resource in the new Open to Hope site for authors that you can see where to go and find that stock image. Let's talk a little bit about social media. When you are when you are creating articles, as you're doing already, obviously, one of the things that we really want you to do is to post in any of the social media outlets that you're participating in, and simply providing a link to your content is a great way for you to increase your relevancy in terms of how search engines see you. One of the things that I think is really important to point out is I never would have dreamed that LinkedIn would be a good place for Open to Hope authors to spend some time, but it turns out that LinkedIn has a very, very, very active set of discussions, many of which are relevant to your topic areas. And so not only do we encourage you to put in posts in LinkedIn when you've posted an article or you found something that's content that's relevant, but also to participate in the groups. And if you search on loss of a child as an example, you'll probably come up with 2 or 3 groups that you can participate in LinkedIn. And what we like about that is it really helps you to position yourself as an authority, both with the people that you're participating with and also with links that you're posting in those discussions with search engines. So as you do that, what happens is when somebody searches, all these people you're providing a broader reach for people that are looking for your content. You're adding the number of people and you're creating stronger links to those. And the bottom line is that the cycle really reinforces itself. Mark?
Yeah, I just want to point out a couple of things. Some things you can do on social when you post to one of your articles. Use an open-ended question and get conversation going on your Facebook or on your blog comments about your articles. Start a conversation. And one thing we want to make sure that our social campaigns are not just links to our content. Link out to other people. Link out to what you like, other authors that you like, other authors in Open to Hope, events that are going on. By linking to the information that's out there, you're establishing yourself as being in the know and being an authority in your field, and so nobody wants to come to a social site and where someone's only linking to their articles. You really want to maybe pepper in the links to your articles, about 30% of your content, but the rest of the content should be out to other people and out to what's going on in the field, and get in the conversations.
And that's really critical and really worth reiterating. If all you're doing in any of what we're talking about in terms of linking is promoting yourself, you'll very, very, very quickly lose credibility with your readers. What people want is for you to be a resource, not only for what you're bringing to the table, which is really important, but also what people can look for in the broader landscape. And the more that you do that, you know, there's a very big kind of argument about how much that can be. Should it be 30% of self-promotion or as low as 10%? And I think you can't hurt yourself by going down to 10% if what you're doing is taking that 90% and really helping people find out what else is out there to help them in going through their grief. So really want to encourage you to promote yourself, but not to the point of excess. And it's very easy to get there by accident. Okay, so as far as SEO and social media working together, Mark, why don't you run through this?
Well, we know that the links from social media do increase your organic algorithm rankings, and as well as when you post an article, that article over time begins to devalue in its importance in the search. And when you link from social, or you get a conversation going around in your social media around that article, you're refreshing that article. You're referencing it. You're linking to it. You're mentioning it, getting a conversation going around it, and that's refreshing it, almost like you're republishing it to the eyes of the search engines. So you can use it. You can use your social as platforms to broadcast your articles out and to get the conversation going on around them. You can use social to follow other people that are in the field. So you can stay on top of the field by following what other people are posting. When you get the conversation going, there's an amazing reality with social media, and that's in the impact that a response has. So if someone posts a comment on your Facebook and you take 2 minutes to respond to them, that impact that you had on that user is so much more valuable than the 2 minutes that you took to respond. They're like, wow, this person took time out of their day and they responded to me personally, and you almost signed up a loyal follower almost by just responding. So you can, one at a time, build up a following, build up people that are looking to you as a resource, and so you can build up your loyal following, so that all of your discussions have people participating in them, and your events have people coming to them. And you are basically declaring yourself as an authority in your field, as someone that people look to as a resource for grieving, and people start to refer to you, and people start to look at for information in this field because you have an ongoing conversation in the social media around your field.
I think it's really important to point out that now more than ever, what buys you credibility is that interactivity. With social media, it's so much easier to do, and taking the time to do a simple response to anybody that's posted has a tremendous impact on how you're perceived. So as Mark says, it's really a good idea.
All right, and here's this last point, that you can promote each other. You know, we're all in this. Do not be afraid to promote each other, because that you really are promoting yourself by promoting other people in the field and other information out there. People will remember you when you sent them to something that helped them. But here we are, all are doing the same thing, and so you can promote each other. You see each other on the Open to Hope site. You could promote each other's books. You could do interviews with each other to help fill your social media needs, and use the Open to Hope resource as a way of making connections that then you can promote through your own social media.
And especially, I think, where this makes the most sense is where you're on similar topic areas: death of a child, death of a spouse, that sort of thing. Pointing to each other increases both of your relevancies, and really helps the search engines to say, oh, these are stronger, more important links than some of the others. So really want to encourage you to do that. Okay, so that's a quick piece on social media. As I said, we're not going to get into how to do social media, but if you are using social media, please think about these ideas to strengthen what you're doing. So let's talk about a new program that we've worked with Open to Hope on, which is basically to create links to Open to Hope, and what we'll do is create links back to you. What we have done is we've put together a series of icons that you can use on your site, and if what you do is place an image, an icon for Open to Hope that's a live link to the Open to Hope site, so that when I click on the icon, I go to the Open to Hope website. It can be to the main page, it can be to your topic area, it can be to your author's page. We don't really care what the link is to on Open to Hope, but if you use this, what we'll do is we'll make sure and put you in a couple of prominent places. We're about to add a resources area that we have resources, but we're going to add by type of loss and include authors there that are linking to us. So all you need to do is to send us where the link is, and the only thing that we ask from you is that the link to Open to Hope either be on your home page or on a secondary page. In other words, any page that you can point to from the main navigation. So if you've got a resources page and you put a link to Open to Hope there, that counts, and what we'll do is put your a link back to wherever you want on your website or your blog or multiple places that you have social media, that sort of thing. We'll put you down as one of those authors in that resource section. The other places that we'll put you are in opening areas to categories, death of a child, death of a parent. We'll have a listing for you there, and what we're doing is working to put in an opening post that for each of those main sections that will allow you to I'm sorry, I just had somebody come on with a blower outside of my office, so my apologies. So here's what it looks like. These are the different areas of different icons you can use. We have two types. One is transparent background and one is white background, and you'll be able to take a look at where you want to put these and have them in a variety of sizes. And again, all we ask that you do is create a link to them and then let us know that you've put that together, and we'll go ahead and link back to you. That's that piece. So now, so that I can get rid of the guy with the blower outside my office, let's talk about authors.open-to-hope. Anne?
Hi. Authors.open-to-hope.com is a new sub-site of Open to Hope. This is a set of resources for you authors of Open to Hope to get up to speed on online marketing tools, such as search engine optimization, social media, and other marketing vehicles. So Chris, if you go to the next slide, I'll show you the home page. And this page has links to all the pages on the site on the main nav bar, and has a little bit of information about those pages on that page. And just to show you some examples, Chris, if you go to the next slide, you'll see the page on search engine optimization. And this page has links to articles, to blog posts, to YouTube videos, and they're all there to educate you, to help you get started setting up these tools, to give you tips, to give you cutting-edge resources. So that's a whole big set of links on that page. Chris, if you go to the next slide, I'll show you the social media tools page. So this is a similar page, again, with lots of links, and this time it's to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. And now I'm going to jump to another slide. If you go to the next slide, Chris, we'll jump to link to Open to Hope. So what this is, these are all the links to Open to Hope categories, such as death of a child, death of a spouse, spirituality, etc. Now, if you're posting some content outside of Open to Hope, say on your website or your blog, and it's relevant to one of these Open to Hope categories, what you can do is come to this page, find the relevant category. Say if you're writing an article on death of a child, you'd find the death of a child link here, you'd copy it, and then actually paste it right into your content. And the great thing about that is not only are you helping your readers find Open to Hope as a resource, but you're also creating another inbound link to Open to Hope. And that helps raise Open to Hope's rankings and in turn increases readership of your articles and all the articles on Open to Hope. If we go to the next slide, most important, I want to point out that if you have feedback on the content of these pages, suggestions, comments, if you have issues with links that aren't working, or you have questions about materials, on every single page we've listed Chris's contact info at the bottom of the page so that you can contact us and let us hear from you. We want to hear from you. I also just want to note that we will be posting these webinar slides on the site, as well as more details on uploading photos and formatting your articles.